Awesome. Well, hey guys, glad we're back. I've missed you so very much. Seems like it's been like 10 years since we've gotten together.
I know. Holy crap! It has felt like it's been a long, long time since I've sat down and played with you guys. Like inordinately long.
I know. And it was just a month ago, and I mean the good news is that means things are going well. So let's go around the horn and say hi. So hi for me,
Hi.
Jason. Thanks for joining. Shut up, Eric. It's not your turn. Going around the circle. And the circle, if you look at this stream, begins with me at the bottom. Anyway, so I'm glad you guys have tuned in. Those of you who will probably be watching later. Mr. Powers, how the hell are you doing, man?
I'm doing really well. Work is going great. My main client is live on the new version. I'm actually not working 80 hours a week anymore, which is awesome. And everything's going fine.
Awesome. You do seem to be a little more energetic today. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for you, man. Glad to have you. Rivers, what's up, man?
You know, I'm just living, I guess. Just working and making a living. That's all I can say. I've just had a time here recently. So
yeah. Well, we're glad you're here, man. We're glad you made it. I heard traffic was atrocious. What's the deal with that?
Oh yes. We had a beer fest going on in town, and couldn't drive anywhere for nothing. So I sat in literally almost not even a quarter of a mile from my house and just sat there for like an hour.
That's awesome. You should have done what Eric would have done, were he in a situation like that. He would have popped open his laptop at the beer tent. He's done it from a hotel. He's done it from a beer tent.
Yep, I can do it from anywhere.
Yeah. So CJ in our cult campaign, and I'll stop plugging the cult campaign, but CJ, one of our players, joined from a hospital. The second session that he joined from his vehicle. Because he thought it was too loud in the house. He wanted to quieten the focus, so he sat in the driver's side of his vehicle and played from there on the stream.
That's dedication.
Well, I mean, hey, like you have to focus. So
yeah,
it's whatever.
So I think what I told him is, man, that should be your thing. You should join from some different fucked up place every time. Like next time it'll be Walmart, like the sporting goods section of Walmart or something. John, what are you doing, man? How's the green screen? How's life? How's stuff?
Good. Not to plug my channel too much, but twitch.tv/Slightly Salted Squad. We got Sledgehammer in the chat. Good. Just busy with work, but playing a lot of cool games this weekend. Got some closed beta participation stuff. I can't stream them, but I'm pretty excited for this weekend.
Oh, that's awesome.
A California trip coming up next month. Excited for it. Good to see Galaxy's Edge finally, Star Wars Land, all that stuff. So pretty pumped.
Dude, that is amazing. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are doing well with the stream, and we're kind of partnered here. We can technically say that this stream is sponsored by the Slightly Salted Squad that you can find
hosting you right now.
Amazing. So we'll try to do you guys justice. Eric, God damn it, it seems like you're at your house, so that's good. You're in one piece. What's happening?
Usually at my house, on Thursday nights, and yeah, planning my next major trip. I'll be out of town for a couple weeks shortly.
Are you playing from your hotel? Is that what you're going to do next time you're out of town? You going to do it again?
I guess it depends on when the next time we're playing is, but yeah, if I'm there, I'll probably be playing from my hotel one night.
Awesome. I think that is true dedication, and you can seriously freak out the people next to you if you're like shouting in character and screaming about these monsters that are attacking you. the maid will get
that might be a good plan. Maybe I'll just take my my laptop down to the lounge and do that.
You should, right there next to the buffet. And awesome. James, what's going on?
It's all good. I'm glad to be here.
I want to point something out. So I just noticed this. So there's this concept in filmmaking called the rule of thirds. And James is following that shit to the point where he looks like he should be on a film poster. It's like perfect framing. Awesome. So what's up with you, man? What have you been doing lately?
I just got finished beating Arkham Knight, finally.
The VR one?
Nice.
The VR one or no?
No. Just PlayStation 4 regular.
Oh, sweet.
Now, is it the finished where you finished the story, or you finished all the extra things to do?
100%.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
That is like you're talking about some dedication. That's some real dedication.
That's one with all the Riddler trophies, right?
I hate the Riddler. Yes.
They all have Riddler trophies.
Nope.
Oh man. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you achieved that. That means that we'll see maybe more of you. Maybe we could actually get together for a beer here soon. That'd be good.
Cool.
Or a non-glutinous beer, whatever that is. All right. Well, since we've got some people, we got 5 folks watching, which is cool. I'm glad you guys are here. I think we're going to play some Warhammer Fantasy 4th edition. Are you guys ready?
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So let's do... I wrote this song for you guys, by the way. In the background.
Absolutely lovely.
It's not nearly creepy enough, though. I'm gonna have to kind of work on my music game here. It's like do 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 do. Oh, there's devils and demons everywhere.
Yeah, it's almost pleasant for us. Correct me if I'm wrong, but seeing a figure tied to the post on fire.
Yeah.
Last we left.
How about 1,000 years?
Wow, that just makes the music just so inappropriate.
Actually, so let's do this. So I've been talking to the guy that does Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse, and so he does these ambient horror tracks, and this one's called 1,000 Years of Narcolepsy, which I mean, if you've got narcolepsy, it's pretty probably horrible and scary. So I'm going to use that. That's better. Okay, let's go there. Let's go into the Reichland. So when last we met, your party saved the life of one Owen, a young man disfigured by an old injury of unknown origin. Owen had been hiding in the top of a tall tree, apparently from some ravenous dogs, when the dome appeared. The dome that trapped you in this strange place. Its magical energy ripping through the ancient stout base and leaving the man dangling at a dangerous height. You could hear him screaming from afar for help, and you responded. He was hungry and frail, and very much thankful for your assistance. His injury was such that he had very little of his bottom jaw left, his tongue waggling around and having to brace the bottom of his mouth to even begin to talk to you. Thankful, though, for having been saved, he led you to the west, deeper into the Reichwald, and closer to the infamous hills known as the Hager Cribs. After a time, you arrived at what at first may have seemed almost like a ruin. It's a tiny town whose near-forgotten sign named it Feldweg. Though all of you were well-versed enough on Reichland's surroundings, localities, even small villages in some cases, this place is unknown to you all. Here, you met Sven, who, with his wife Hilda, runs the Feldweg Arms, a rotting tavern, a hostel in the northwest of town. And like Owen, Sven was disfigured. His was not the result of injury. His eyes badly misaligned and beginning the milky glaze of blindness. Would be pretty chilling if it weren't for his calm and warm demeanor. The town around you seemed empty. There were sounds, signs of life. Buildings for probably well over 100 locals. 120 maybe, and on the high side, there should have been more activity. There were farm animals and gardens, all old and whatnot, but generally, the houses are all well maintained, kept up with. And that's when you saw it. Plume of smoke rising from a hill on the south end of town, curling at the height of its ascent against the impermeable magic of that fucking dome. The smoke rose from the fire at the feet of what Sven told Geschwind was a witch. And so we've arrived, just a couple of moments ago. The man on the stake shrieked, "It was the only way!" and took his last breath as flames charred and peeled his flesh from the bone. You watched him die from afar, and surrounding him and his grisly death are the denizens of Feldweg. What do you guys do?
Just kind of staring at it.
Staring at it in the distance, everything's very quiet. So Oswald, you'd mentioned that you had seen some executions of this style, probably in Uversreich. Generally, it's loud. There's fanfare. Some people stone the dying as they are sitting there cooking and drawing their very last of breaths. It's almost like there's a strange reverence around the scene.
Is there anybody close to us at this point? Like a few steps away, or is it still kind of like a hike down to where they all are?
So it's actually up where they all. So they're ringing. They're standing.
Oh,
on this
they're
hill.
up. Okay.
Yeah, they're standing on the hill, ringing this funeral pyre. You look over your shoulder there, Guesswin, and you notice that Sven has in fact walked out. He has, if you recall, his towel over his arm, and he was polishing some bowls. It's quite a sight, isn't it? He says, with his strange crooked eyes looking up at you.
I kind of turn to him and ask, is this a special occasion? Does this happen often?
He laughs. Only when there are witches about, boy. Only when there are witches about. They are followers of the old ones, he says. It is their way.
I kind of nervously chuckle. Isn't there normally more fanfare at these events?
Well, I suppose if you are up there with them, you would witness some celebration. It's no excuse for party in my mind, as the dead and the dying and all. But we don't suffer the witch in Feldweg. There's too much history there. He looks at the ground distantly, kind of trying to disconnect maybe from some memory that you're unaware of. What are the rest of you doing?
What mischief was this witch up to?
I don't know. It was so it's all a bit of a blur. There was quite a lot of noise. It seems that he was caught performing some enchantment. There, near the cairns. He points to the hills there to the southeast of town, number 34 on the map. He wouldn't say much, for even from a distance. He just, as they dragged him in for questioning, he kept insisting that he meant no harm, and that, well, you heard him. I heard him from inside. It was the only way. He mocks him, as if amused with that being his last words.
Was this terrible witch part of the town, or a newcomer, a visitor?
No, he was not known to us. We do not see very many strangers here. As you can imagine, not a lot of tourism, merchant traffic to this place. Some say he looks at you with one eye and then turns his head to focus the other on you, and has to turn quite intensely to get there. Some say this place was cursed long ago. And he smiles. Right about that time, Owen comes walking up, kind of slowly behind, with his tongue kind of waggling out, almost punctuating the comment about the curse. What are you doing there, Bartleby? Standing there with your arms crossed, watching what's going on.
Bartleby is hearing this tale, and Bartleby's had about enough. Like, he's a pretty down-to-earth guy. He's sort of ready to leave.
Yeah.
Looking around to see if anybody else is ready to leave.
He's about to start grabbing people and throwing them into some. Yeah. You kind of look around nervously. Oswald, what are you doing? You were actually in the front, right? So what the conversation?
I
that's
actually
happening is
pushed
behind you.
myself forward to get a better look at what's going on from the bottom of the hill, past the people. So
Okay.
I'm probably intermixed with like the village people.
Nice. So you walk to the base of the hill.
Yeah, I did. Can I remember doing a perception check. I want to observe these people. It's kind of like a two-part thing. I want to observe these people because you said that they're a bit more solemn, right? Like they're a bit more like not really kind of like. What I'm trying to figure out is, are they very much cult-like, or are they like
Okay.
in silent reverence, or are they like praying, or like are they doing something like trying to just observe my surroundings almost.
Yeah, happy for you to make a perception check, and let's see, based on, so let me tell you the first thing that you notice as you walk up, because so you were walking up when we left off before. You were sort of in the lead, and your friends were following your lead. As you walk to the base, you notice that toward the base is more kind of women and children. They're sort of watching, and the kids are sort of giggling and doing what kids might do in church, right? They're holding hands and poking each other, and there's probably a, "Stop touching me," or something. The women are there, and they're solemn. The men are more toward the front. And there's an old man that you can see, and his features look really intense, glowing in the firelight, the light that you see fueled by this corpse. Make a perception check at this point.
Alrighty. If I were to super specialize and say like I wanted to look at the old man in particular and look at his features since they're highly shown, I guess, or lit up, can I get like a bonus just specifically on him if that was what I was looking to do?
I think that's fair. Let's do it.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, here is just the, I guess, general my surroundings. Oh God.
Have to go to
that one's not good. Maybe this, if I can attempt the second one for the guy in particular.
Well, hang on. So the first thing that gets you is as you're looking there toward these men, or these, the people sort of on the top of the hill, and this old man, you're kind of starting to focus. When you hear, "It's a stranger! It's a stranger!" And a couple of people kind of repeat that. There's a couple of different tones of women's voices. There's an old man who turns and says, "Ugh," and looks at you with this sort of puzzled look, like, "Why are you here?" He steps forward and interrupts your sort of observation of this old man. Says, "Who are you? Are you with him?" Pointing back up at the corpse.
Oswald looks to the man who's questioning him and says, "I am not with him, no."
"No, you're not from around here. We know
Very
everything.
much not."
"Who are you?" And a couple of people. A few people, probably call it 7 or 8, right? Kind of turn around to face you. The rest of the folks are still engrossed in whatever's being set up on the hill.
Yeah, so Oswald's not liking this, and so he's gonna put a lot of his weight on his back foot.
Okay.
And kind of either getting into that fight or flight response in his own mind, but doing so in a sort of like, not like putting his hands up or anything like that, but he's just been kind of noticed really hard. And he says, "We have come from further up the road. There is a caravan in town I am a part of, and we happen to be stuck by some sort of unfortunate malady." And Oswald just points upward, and you can, like, towards the billowing smoke.
He proceeds
It's
to...
like...
Yeah, no, he follows your fingers up.
And Oswald, when everybody's around him looking or up, or like when they get the gasping, like, they can see clearly the smoke's like pillowing, he's gonna hightail it away from him.
Okay, so that's exactly what happens. So you point up, right? And looking up yourself, you see the smoke just curling against this dome, and it's quite high up. And I'll give, let's say Bartleby. Give me a perception roll, Bartleby, because you're there kind of watching as you do.
Sure.
The folks basically kind of look up, and you skirt over to your group. Well, how far do you go? Do you stay with them? Do you run past them? What do you do?
Oh, I definitely just kind of like, I approach them, and maybe it's in like a small phrase that I've taught my companion, who is my like
That
dynamic
would be
duo.
Corbin.
That's me.
Yeah.
Wait, actually,
So,
yeah,
like,
it's one of the two of them. Your drinking buddy
No.
or your
No,
functional
Bartleby,
buddy?
I believe it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Maybe it's
Your
like a
engineering
small.
buddy?
Yeah, maybe it's like a small phrase I just say under my breath in Wastelander, so like a very far removed like language from the area. It's maybe something I've said like right as we've gotten into like a fight or something, or but I say the following: "We need to leave fast."
You get no argument from me. I want no part of this.
And he looks to the others and he says, "I was almost drawn and quartered myself. It seems these people are not very friendly to outsiders.
As you turn, and those of you, you're kind of chatting, right? So Oswald, basically, the camera picture is behind you, and Oswald has walked back down from the edge of the hill. He wasn't very far up it, right? He wasn't in their midst, but he's taken a good 20 steps back. You notice that the figure from the top of the hill, with a torch on the end of a stick, or maybe a lantern on a hook, you're not sure at this distance, but he's making his way through the crowd, and they're parting, and a lot of people are looking at you. You don't get a sense of hostility per se, but you're all very uncomfortable. You hear this dialogue. Corbin, what are you doing? You're the little guy there, kind of, that the camera sees standing in between these guys. What are you doing?
I'm kind of skirting around behind my companions. I don't want any part of this.
Okay, so here you're backing up.
Yes, I'm worried about this mob turning on us.
So Grimwald, what you and Geschwind are having happen here is your friends are basically kind of doing this little weird leapfrog thing where you are now exposed to the front as they're kind of proceeding.
To Geschwin, how bad do you think this is going to get?
I'm going to go with a real bad. Sven, it's been great talking to you. Thank you for the history lesson. We're going to go back for a drink now, very casually.
You start.
We should check on him.
Oh yes, of course you should come.
Yes.
Have the wine.
First time I've ever wanted to see Gunter.
And almost as if on cue, from the distance, remind you, you left Unter in the stable. His massive girth. Yes, Unter is in the stable, and you hear, "Bugger the lot of you! Where is my lamb?" from the distance. Clearly,
yes, we better go help him.
Yeah, it's going to be hours before he's able to move anymore, because he did, if you recall, walk almost all the way across this little village over the course of 20 minutes, and he's incredibly fatigued. So you start heading back toward the tavern then? Is that what you do?
Yeah.
Yes.
Brisk jaunt.
Okay, brisk jaunt. So
now
Sven,
that Geschwind has opened the door, I absolutely go back to the tavern.
Yeah, so Sven folds in next to you, right? Those of you who are in front. So let's assume Geschwind and Corbin and probably Oswald, because he was really freaked out by this, right? You're all kind of moving back toward the tavern, and it's not a very long walk. It's, you'll kind of walk past the well, past what probably is the town hall, which would be number 3. Into the tavern, which, to remind you, Oswald has done a partial fix on the door. And interestingly, it does actually kind of sail open and close. It doesn't scrape quite as much, although your medieval OCD does kick in as you pass it.
Yes, come. The rest will be coming too. We can all drink a toast together to the dead witch. It would almost be like your locals.
He smiles. Again, his face is so distorted. You open the door. Who's first?
Probably would lead the way.
Yeah. So, the Myth Baguette stream. That's actually a really good observation, because there was the muffin story last time, right?
Mm-hmm. We're always about bread here.
Yeah.
Always.
Wheat-based products are fantastic. So, who was first, Grimwald?
Yeah, I volunteer, yeah.
Well, you open the door to the tavern. It's really not a terribly scary thing. Were it not for the woman that's standing there at the bar.
This whole place is creepy.
She's very crooked. She is almost like an S. She's so crooked, like the most extreme scoliosis case you've seen. She turns to you, almost like a Silent Hill kind of turn, and has this beautiful smile on her face. You are revolted, particularly considering that you're the ladies' man. And she turns and,
you are the guests that he spoke of. Come in, please. The lamb will be ready soon.
She turns again, her one shoulder up next to her ear and the other low, and she kind of lopes off to the side. It's not okay, but your options are kind of limited. You go in with the S-shaped woman, or you wait for the crowd of strange Feldwegians to arrive. What do? Do you go in?
I go in.
You walk in. You've probably, at some level, Geschwin been approached by worse. She's actually somewhat, I wouldn't say pretty, but misshapen for sure. But not. She's not a monster. She doesn't look like the undead or anything. You step in, and you can hear the sound of water being poured. You can smell lamb, which is in fact cooking. It's roasting apparently over a spit out back, maybe a brick oven or something that you've not seen.
Did you go to the burning?
She says.
We saw it from the bottom of the hill.
At this point, Sven
We didn't want to
enters.
intrude.
Ah, yes. Serious business, the witch killing is around here, she says. We don't participate in that. We are faithful. Faithful and grateful for Sigmar's salvation.
She smiles at you. You're looking like, man, you could use more salvation. And maybe a stretching on the rack to sort that out. You know. So, as you kind of pack in now to this tavern, the noise begins. Townsfolk, kids and women passing the tavern, men starting to file into the tavern. You're in there, but you are the only ones in there, aside from Hilda and Sven, who are very busily, all of a sudden, starting to prepare these small little cups, these wooden carved cups. What do you do as the people start to kind of come in? How do you position yourselves in this room?
Are there more cups than just for us? Is it like
Yes.
for the oncoming townspeople?
They are pulling them out from behind the counter, and there are many. Yeah, it's
Okay.
almost like a communion, sort of like the thimble of the when you're taking the crouton of Christ or whatever. You know, that little yeah.
Is there another door?
There is in fact another door. You go behind the counter, and it leads out probably to where their oven and dangerous things like that are.
A window will
think-
do.
I think I would like to be near the other door.
As
Yeah.
the townsfolk come in, are they like normal and like talkative and things like that, or are they very much like quiet, somber like they were at the burning?
Give me a perception. Well, yeah, I mean, the most immediate thing you notice is no, they don't seem like they're all, you know, they're not like the people from Shadow over Innsmouth or anything. They're solemn, but not. Did you fail?
Real bad.
Damn. I don't know. You forget who you are.
Where am I?
You're overwhelmed by the fact that these people are suddenly coming in and sort of filing in. All in total, there are about 15 that make their way in, but there's a lot of noise going on outside, and they're looking at you, all of them, as they kind of come in.
I'm going to try and keep us together and get us out of the way.
Okay. What are you up to, Bartleby? Oswald?
Oh, I think Oswald, sensing the danger, he hasn't actually went inside of the
Okay.
establishment.
You watch these people file past you as you're there, kind of being casual and laid back, right? So
No, I'm actually going back to my caravan, like where my
You're like-
belongings are.
you're like, I'm going to the car. I'll see you guys later.
Oh, no, I fully intend to return. But Oswald is gonna get his hands on like a coat or something, like an overcoat. The winter or the nights are pretty cold, especially here at night, especially in the Reichland. And he's going to look for something throw, and he's going to find the two two weapons and his hammer from his engineering kit.
Okay.
And also, I'm going to grab my nails as well.
Okay,
or
so
spikes.
let's start with all that in your mind, right? That's kind of rushing through your mind. You've got a master plan already. You're going to equip yourself, but the first thing you're going to do is just sort of walk past these townsfolk. As you're walking along, there are two men. One of them is very young, actually, probably maybe 19. He's like a teenager. The other one, maybe his father. Stops, takes a look at you, and you meet eyes. He's got this sort of slight beard, gray. Seems generally pretty normal. He looks at you and, "Evening, stranger," he says. "Where have you come from, then?" He looks around. "I don't recognize you."
Oswald doesn't see, he lets this kind of roll down his water off a duck's back, and he lets him finish his conversation, and he says,
I am from Ubersvik, and I come from, well, I come with, and I point to wherever tons of fun is, and he is currently my caravan master, and I am under his employ as an engineer.
So, having arrived, pretty much, if you remember, I mean, you sort of rolled up and left your caravan, and it seems as if he's trying to put two and two together, and he looks back over your shoulder toward the inn, thinking you must be meaning someone, you know, that's named Tons of Fun over there. Oh, welcome. We don't
If
get
you
many
see him,
visitors
you will not
from the
miss him.
city.
I promise you. He is absolutely gravitational.
He's looking away, and as you're sort of talking over each other a little bit. He looks back and says, "Oh, what wares have you do you have things for sale or for barter?" He smiles.
I'm trying to think back. Do we actually? I believe we do actually have things to sell, right?
You do,
Or
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
You sure do.
Yeah.
And I mean, God only knows what else is going on, but you know, the boss is in a hurry. You're not sure what's
Well,
available.
being the ever studious merchant man, he will say, "Why, yes, we do have various oddities and bits and things of that nature to sell. I mean, we are a merchant caravan after all. Is there a particular need that this village or hamlet would need?"
As you complete that question, give me a quick perception roll, a ordinary difficulty roll, average.
Okay.
Actually, so that'd be what you get there.
2 success levels.
You feel the sensation of something reaching and kind of pulling and tugging at your belt slightly, gently, and deliberately, and almost like your reflexes fire, and your hand snaps back to your waist, and your hand closes on the wrist of this young ruffian who is apparently trying to dig in your purse. What do you do?
Ooh.
Swing around.
Oh, no,
the
no,
face
no.
and-
Oswald will, as he gets a grip on the young lad's wrist, he will, since I have some skill in brawl, I will attempt to shove him backwards and away from me with some force.
There's no roll needed there, so he's terrified when he sees the fire in your eyes and the experience and the sort of battle-ready posture that you take. You fling him backwards, and he literally stumbles back and falls on his ass. And what may be his father, you're kind of putting two and two together at this point. Oh, no, what? No, don't hurt him. What's going on? I was just looking, Father. I was just looking. Look! And he points up to some pouch and some of your accessories and accoutrement that you carry, because you know he's.
I mean, I have 4 silver shillings on me right now. Like, that's a lot of money.
We do not look with our hands, Joseph, he says as he leans in and slaps the living shit out of his son, just decking him like full-on corporal punishment style. And he turns, I am so sorry, stranger. This is not the way we Feldwegians behave. Get up and go home, he says, starts kind of shoving him on. I am sorry we had to meet this way. Joseph, go! As he pushes him some more.
But it's not a problem. You might see to it that you deal with his adventurousness as soon as possible, or otherwise he might become more of a cold heart and cutthroat in the future.
I will not spare the rod on this one. He won't walk right for a decade, as he stomps off. You continue to the wagon. Corbin, you're there in the bar near the door. You've arranged yourself close enough that you could dart under the counter. Geschwind, you're inside, and off to the side of the fireplace with Grimwald and Bartleby. It's getting crowded in here at this point. People are looking at you. They haven't tried to murder you yet, which is good.
It's coming.
Definitely.
Is on the way.
That's funny. I'm not going to laugh at the chat. I'm ignoring the chat. I got to stay focused here. So what are you doing as these people file in and they're having these conversations? Are you just sort of pressed against the wall in the corner?
I'll try and make small talk with someone.
Give me a charm roll. Let's pick male, female. It's not all males in here.
Whoever's closest doesn't matter to me. Average, difficult.
I'm gonna go ahead and give you an average, so you get that plus 20, because it is after all Grimwald. Oh
Nope.
man.
Ouch.
So you step up. What do you say? So you step up to this. You say, did you choose male or female, or did you say you don't care? First person?
I don't care.
Okay, so the person that you're walking up to is just incredibly sweaty, bald, kind of larger of build kind of guy, but just dripping sweat. It's like he's got that blacksmith vibe to him. He's kind of dirty. He smells of that tang of unwashed flesh. He turns and looks at you and, what do you want, boy? Well, who are you then? He says. He leans into you with his elbow right in your chest. Not like a hit, but like a kind of just a push. And then turns back to the bar. And then looks over his shoulder as if expecting an answer.
I lean up to the bar too, and I'm Grimwald. I'm with the caravan. Who are you, sir?
Leather worker here. My name is Charles. He has a forked tongue. He has two tongues. You're not sure which. It's one of those. But they cause him to slur a little when he talks, and he's right there in your face with this horrible breath.
Try not to stare.
Your caravan come to purchase goods?
He says, and he smiles.
Oh, we're passing through. There might be some purchases and might be some stuff available to purchase yourself.
As long as you step up to the bar and let us have a drink, he says.
First one's on me.
Where are the rest of your friends?
He looks at you quizzically, almost like he doesn't understand what you mean. What are you doing, Geschwind and Bartleby, Corbin?
I see Grimwald and kind of try to take his lead and try to socialize. I'm gonna try to avoid any heavy men though, and try to find a lady.
Okay, so you straighten out your collar with the banaka, or medieval banaka, whatever that is. Chew a mint leaf.
Mint leaf.
Why don't you give me a charm roll?
That's let's see. Okay.
Yeah. You step up. There's a heavy-set woman. She's got very rosy cheeks. Not Unter Wagner.
Yeah, sorry, I keep having that image in my head for some terrifying reason.
She's clearly of ample proportion. She's a mom. She's got that vibe, that very kind of, and she turns, and with a genuine smile, warm, rosy kind of cheeks. She's a little sweaty, like maybe the walk down from the hill, kind of,
It was a burning, after all.
Oh, hello there, handsome, she says.
Well, hello. And then finding someone like you in this establishment.
I'm always here. There was the burning. Wait, I don't. She seems just flustered, and I don't recognize you. What's your name? She says.
Oh, my name's Geschwind. I'm part of the caravan. We're just traveling through and appreciate this hospitality. Although, pray tell, could you tell me about the event, the burning out there? I've never seen anything like it.
She smiles and kind of turns and sort of shrugs away from what's going on at the bar, which, Corbin, I'll get to you in a second. You've got insight into that. But, well, there was a burning of a witch, she says. He was found casting some form of enchantment.
Is he the cause of this dome? I saw the smoke kind of billowing up against something in the sky.
I do not know. She seems clueless. Like she might not have noticed. I mean,
gotcha.
Who knows? What? There's a dome in the sky? She says.
Now I'm insane.
She's just flustered. She says, So will you be staying here long? She says. Would you need a place to room? She bats her eyelashes.
Oh, what? What a gracious offer. I don't know. I'll have to check with my compatriots over here.
You're saying that.
I
and
believe we
trying
were
to
just
step
passing
backward.
through. I
She
very
reaches
much
out.
appreciate it, though.
You're like, oh, it's a backpedaling, and she reaches out. Oh no, stay, please, stay. We don't see many foreigners here. Let's get to know one another. My husband's dead, you know. She smiles. And you're just
That was a good effect. As you said that, something fell behind you.
I know.
The light, it looks like.
Oh yeah. Oh no, we had a lighting area. All right.
I just say I am so sorry for your loss. Maybe, perchance, I could go get you a drink, and I kind of start trying to walk the long way around the bar to order a drink.
She fans herself a bit, you know, and bats her eyelashes. Oh, I'll be here waiting for you, Gershwin, she says.
Be right back.
You weave your way. Bartleby, what are you doing? So you're observing as you do. That's kind of stoic, watching this nonsense going on.
Bartleby is definitely still a little creeped out, just in general, by this. You know, he's lived on the docks for his whole life, and he's seen some pretty messed up stuff. But this is a little too Village of the Damned for him. So he's just trying to keep to himself, I think, at this point, and probably looking for the cue when he needs to go and tell Tons of Fun that to finish up his third lamb, it's time to go.
This is gonna stick. Nice. You the noise has all but sort of obfuscated his rants about food. You're not sure what's going on there, although you're curious. So as the crowd kind of gathers, all in total, maybe there's 20 odd people that have smushed themselves into here. There's no chanting, no cult ritual, but at one point or another, these little cups are all handed out. You're offered one. Do you take it? All of you that are in the room?
Mm-hmm.
About this time,
Bartleby will not take it.
Okay. You hold up your hand politely.
Mm-hmm.
Person kind of looks at you and urges it forward again, as if to say, no, really, it's okay, take it.
Bartleby will say, thanks anyhow, brought my own, and produces flask.
Give me a charm roll.
Charm? Sure.
Yeah, let's see what this person thinks of the situation.
Oh.
Ouch.
You basically just said, fuck you.
Pretty much, yeah, it's alright.
So there are no words exchanged, but he withdraws his hand, and his expression goes cold. He looks at the floor and turns away. Shrugs. Walks back toward the, kind of finishing up his errand, but looks back at you. You notice as you kind of watch him disappear into this small crowd of people. Corbin, and then we got to get back to Oswald. So Corbin, you're there. You watch them pour this stuff. You've kind of obscured yourself in a little corner where, your halfling diminutive state keeps you hidden. It's out of a really bizarre looking bottle. Maybe ivory or bone of some kind. It's carved. And on the end, it sort of looks like this hooked finger shape. And the wine seems to come out of there. You don't know what's going on. It seems very ceremonial. There's nothing cult-like, per se, but it does seem a bit ritualistic. At one point or another, there's a person that seems to be watching you. You feel it, and you kind of turn, and there's a thin, somewhat short for a human, older man, real sunken cheeks, a worker, gnarled hands.
Boy, get out of here. You know you're not supposed to be in here. Where are your parents?
He says. He shoves you.
Get out. Get out then, it'll be the rod for you.
I'm not a boy.
You say that as you turn around, and he stops dead in his tracks and looks at you with just these kind of narrow eyes.
There are no halflings here.
I'm just really short.
You are no such thing, Peck.
He spits.
Get out of my bar,
he says. What do you do? Don't say you kill him, because that's probably not what you would do. But what do you do?
No, that's not what I would do. Is there anybody else taking notice of the altercation?
Some people are starting to notice. Yeah, it's not like the whole bar shuts down because I mean, there's a good number of people talking in a small space. So
I try to make myself lost.
So
I'm small. It's crowded.
Yeah.
I want to be unobtrusive and unnoticed as much as possible.
Okay, so you literally just kind of skirt through.
Yes.
He stands there, and so Grimwald, from where you are, you sort of see this playing out, and you notice he crosses his arms and sort of nods with satisfaction as the peck goes elsewhere. You've heard this story before. There are places that halflings are not loved, particularly because they tend to be a bit lecherous. As you get toward the front door, suddenly you hear, "To the death of the witch!" from the bar. "Yes, to the death of the witch!" You recognize Sven's very strange voice, and then his weird S-shaped wife, kind of raises her glass. Everyone raises their small glasses. Gershwin, did you take one?
Yeah, I took one, and
You
I'll
gonna drink it?
pantomime it.
You're gonna fake it.
No, I'm not drinking it.
Grandma, what about you? You gonna get crunk?
Yeah, I'll cheers Charles of Death of the Witch and drink it.
You're going hard. So Bartleby abstained. Gershwin, you sort of do the thing. You kind of fling it behind you. Fling it all over the wall. Grimwald, you drink it. It is. I'm assuming you've had wine before, right? It's incredibly strong, burns your throat. It's not wine at all. You don't know what it is, but it makes you feel wonderful. It's not like a potion kind of sudden effect, but you just feel warm and relaxed, and you might want more. Let us never suffer the witch again, lest the curse be worsened. It's from behind the bar. You don't know who's talking. You can't see him.
I'm gonna go look for who is it? Corbin.
Okay, so you go looking for Corbin. We'll pause and move over to Oswald. So you arrive at the wagon. You've gathered your things. You've got your cloak. You've got a list of things. You have your hammer. Close your toolbox. Shut the wagon door. You can probably hear the beatings taking place still as they go. What do you do?
I'm actually gonna look around for a little bit and try to see if anything's been touched since I was just accosted of my belongings almost. So look around like the wagon itself, maybe look around the other ones, talk to like one or two of the guards that would have stayed by.
Yep. There were a couple guards there by the caravan. You walk along. You get an all clear. Nothing to see here. There's a bit of a crowd going to the tavern. Is there a party? He smiles.
Oswald shrugs and he says, "It is not one you wish to go to. This place is haunted, from what I can tell."
He stiffens at that and looks around. Haunted?
Not in the very literal sense, no, but it is very much, how should I say, off-putting. The locals seem a bit intertwined with themselves.
Oh, my mother's brother was from a place like that. I think he might have been related to his own sister in more than one way.
And
You know what I mean?
I would be
Is that-
implying. There is a particular tavern woman who is more shaped like, and he pantomimes like an S structure, more shaped like that than any normalcy. And the barkeep himself is rather misshapen, like our very illustrious caravan master, excuse me.
He seems to be picturing Unter.
Not as rotund as Unter, but you catch my drift. He is, one eye is here, and the other is here.
It's like that one that we saved from the tree, eh? Yeah. When do we get to leave, Master? Soon?
I would hope so.
Well, we'll be here watching. We'll be here watching to make
Keep
sure
your
everything's
eyes
safe.
about you and your wits about you. I had had a child try to rob me of my soul as
Hmm. Is he dead? He says.
No, but I am sure his father is giving him a new one now.
That reminds me of when I was a lad. Right you are, sir. We'll watch after your things, don't worry.
And at the first sign of trouble, do let us know. And any, and I assume our caravan has some sort of like sound the alarm or like some bell or like that would be on tagging.
For sure, yeah. It's usually more of a shout, but yeah, they absolutely raise the alarm. Yeah.
Or something in the nature that we would know since we're a traveling caravan. That we if we heard that, we would know to come running or get ready to leave.
Yeah. So what do you do? So you've got your stuff. There, the guards are watching. Do you?
I'm going to take that, and I'm also going to take my lantern. I'm gonna wrap it all up in this like big coat thing, and
Okay.
I'm gonna pick it up and tote it like I'm carrying something to the bar, I guess, back to this tavern.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna go inside the tavern. I'm gonna try and get like. You said this tavern's very decrepit, right?
It
there are
is.
windows.
There are. There are very thick, sort of, kind of thick glass windows. Very, very, very hazy at this point. There's one over the door, sort of a, that shines light there in the entryway, and then there's a one in the back, and then one sort of off to the side in the front.
I think Oswald is going to make it to about number 1 where the dead tree is.
Okay.
And try and see if he can see anybody through like the open door of the tavern that he knows. And if he can't see anybody, he's gonna like peek his head in and like try to get somebody's attention so he can alert them to this. Because Oswald has designs on going somewhere else because he heard something about a certain crypt that he wants to go look at.
And the Hager crypts. Okay. So you kind of stand there by the tree, and you're kind of watching the tavern through the kind of still not fully functional door. You see a bunch of people in there, and this is about the time the toast is raised. Seems like they're all drinking for some purpose. Just as the drinks go down and the warmth kind of good role playing there, John, with the drink. You do it again. Yeah. There's a bit of a relaxation of the mood within just a couple of minutes as people sort of start to disseminate, go about their business. There are a few things heard that are interesting. That the, let's see, Grimwald. Over here, 2 men talking. He's kind of chuckling. The one guy that's speaking says, he just kept saying there was no other way. Like he was saving us for something. I don't know. And then he looked at me, right, just before we put him in the binders, and he said, "We've got to keep it in." We kept it in, all right. We kept his ass in the fire, didn't we? And we did. He speaks back. We won't suffer the witch. Not again. The curse just can't get any worse, can it? Oh, it certainly can't. What do you do, Grumwald? You're kind of there. One guy kind of sort of looks over at you as you're standing there listening, because you tend to do that. You're always right there listening. He glances over at you.
I blend in. I'm beneath notice.
Yeah.
I was just, if they make eye contact, like, good evening, and then I'll continue looking for Corbin.
Okay. So good evening. You pass by. You sort of shoulder past. You watch as you pass. You kind of move toward the bar. Sven notices you. Corbin, you see your friend as you're kind of walking along, trying to, skirt through the crowd and get away from this guy who was being, discriminatory, derogatory toward your halfling race. You see Grimwald. Bartleby, what are you up to?
So Bartleby again is just kind of looking around, and he, if it's convenient, if people aren't going to take big notice if he leaves, he's going to go outside and just check on Unter.
Okay. You kind of slip outside, walk around in a wide arc around the building. Some people are filing out with you, and in general, the conversation is almost like you would expect it to have been at the end of a church ceremony. They're talking about how blessed they are and how the witch is dead. And glad they caught him quickly. You round the corner. Unter is there talking to an old man on his litter, on this sort of, that he's made out of straw there with in the barn area. You can smell hay and Unter, which is quite a smell.
There is one of them right now. Bartleby! Where the fuck is my food?
He says.
I've been waiting for at least 2 hours.
It's been more like 40 minutes, but yeah.
I'm not sure. I'll go check.
You just
Go back in.
No, you get back here. Where is the rest of them?
The moment we see it, we just turn around. This wasn't a good idea at all. I'm gonna leave.
Get right back here.
He shouts as you're starting to turn. Do you just keep walking, or do you turn? Jim, did you hear him?
Sorry, no, I didn't hear you.
I said he says, sort of, get right back here, he says, as you're starting to walk away. Do you,
Oh, then Bartleby will turn around.
You turn.
I'd like you to meet the village elder. He has offered us solace here in Feldweg.
He smiles.
Einwin, this is Bartleby. He used to work on the river, but now he's with me on the caravan with the rest of them,
he says. You walk over.
Yeah, of course.
So you approach. They're kind of in the stall. Notice there's a man in sort of simple clothes, dirty, very long fingernails, and kind of farmer's situation there, right? A lot of dirt under them and kind of yellowing on the ends, probably from too much time smoking pipeweed. His face is very haggard. He's incredibly old looking, but somehow youthful in his eyes mostly. He smiles warmly. He's got a few teeth, probably 3 on top and 2 on the bottom in a weird array, black and yellow and such.
Bartleby, is it?
He says.
I'm Einwin.
He reaches his gnarled kind of hand out to shake yours. He has a staff. Not a wizard staff with like fire and shit on it. It's a stick with a hook that holds a lantern.
Right. And Bartleby will reach out and accept his handshake. Well met.
So is it true what Unto was telling me about it? A magic dome,
he says.
Something like that. Some sort of magic drove us off our path.
I would have thought you were crazy, Unto. My apologies. This is most distressing. At least you're safe here with us. We have food enough to spare for most of you,
he says, and glances at the side out of it, kind of at Unter.
Certainly we should set to work in finding out whence this dome came. Do you think it could have been a witch that we just murdered?
Oh yes, of course. I'm certain that was probably it. So the dome should be going now that you've burnt it off, right?
Well, is it or is it not?
Well, I don't bloody know. I'm sitting here waiting for my for my food.
Glancing up at you insistently.
Maybe you should go poke around and see if the dome's gone then.
Not after dark. It's not safe out there after dark, he says. The camera.
Why why isn't it safe after dark?
There are all manner of things in the Fragwald Forest. We aren't far from the Hager Crypt. And there have been some strange things out there lately. Your master mentioned that you'd encountered the vines. They are here and there throughout the forest of late. It's not normal. They don't belong here, he says.
Aye. That much was obvious. Claimed one of ours.
I find myself wondering if there might be more to this story. He stares at you with these youthful but knowing eyes. It's really unnerving. The camera pans. Oswald, you are there. You, from your distance, you see Bartleby kind of walk out You think?
Yeah, I failed to
Have
get
a
his
chat.
attention, and I just kind of irk, and I see people milling out. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm going to head after Bartleby, and you know, is it what time of day is it actually?
It's evening. It's
Evening?
Yes, it's getting dark.
Okay. I think Oswald is going to take his lantern and not go ahead and catch it up, but he will make his way over to Bartleby, but not try to get into sight of. Actually, you know what? No, Oswald just approaches Bartleby, even during their procession with Unter and the Elder.
Yeah, so just as at the end of that last bit with Bartleby, when the camera sort of panned, right, you kind of notice Bartleby, Oswald approaching at the corner of your eye. He's got a bunch of shit he's carrying with him, but you notice he kind of approaches.
Oswald kind of leans in close as like Unter is distracted talking with the Elder or something, and he unfurls the cloth a little bit and produces one of the weapons that we had found before. He said, "Make sure you keep this on you."
And Bartleby will take it.
You notice the Elder's watching you. You don't know who this dude is as you walk up, by the way, but he's just kind of watching.
Thanks for bringing this over. The Elder here was just telling us that things aren't safe at night. Sounds like we're going to be here at least till the morning.
Yes, I know this. I happen to be a little bit more observant than the rest of our caravan.
Well, if you were so fucking observant, then where's my goddamn food?
He says.
Excuse me, Master. I will make
stare.
sure to acquire such things and more for you.
I'm wasting away here, Oswald. I've been waiting 2 or maybe 4 hours.
As for matters of repairing your caravan, that is what you hired me for. I am not a food asset recovery personnel.
If I weren't so tired from walking all the way across this
top priority
town.
to acquire your roasted chicken.
He crosses his arms across his girth. Is that what you want to play? Is that what you want to say right now, boy?
No, sir. No, my lord. I am just.
Then could you just bring me a snack? All I can tell you is, he says the dome's gone because we burnt a witch, and if the dome's gone, I need food, and we leave in the morning. Because we got
Oswald
to
just
get
quickly
Uber's
looks
wrong.
up. Is it too dark to tell if the smoke has dissipated, or is it still there, or
from the corpse?
yeah, or from the fire? That would probably
You
be,
look,
if not.
and thinking yourself literally like, man, I'm so much smarter than that dude. It's curling against the dome, smoldering. It's a much less intense fire at this point.
Okay, yeah. So, is it too dark in the evening to tell if the smoke has stopped billowing, like the dome effect is gone, or is it still there?
No, it's there for sure. It's less smoke, but it's still not going much further. It's kind of curling back down and spreading out. It's just this weird haze at this point too. Right?
Yeah. Okay. So, Oswald just looks up and he stares at it for a second, and with eyes of just pure contempt, he lowers his gaze down at the 2 people in front of him, not Bartleby, the Elder and the tons of fun. He says, "The dome is still persistent. If I get the moment, I intend on locating its source, which I will need to require some of the caravan hands to do
Einwin,
so."
the Elder, the old man you've not been introduced to, right? But he kind of walks forward and stands next to you, watching you look up and obviously realize that this dome is there. And probably at that point you kind of all gather, except for Unter, who doesn't move. You look up. By the goddess. What is this witchcraft? What does it mean? You know of this? You know something of this? He says, pointing
If
up.
I did, I would have already stopped it.
We must appease the goddess. We must appease the
Did it
goddess.
work before? Then it possibly won't work again.
She still thirsts, he says, looking at you.
Yeah, Oswald just... By Sigma, what do you mean, goddess?
It is no matter. He pats you on the shoulder. It is no matter. I know what we must do. He turns and walks away.
Yeah, Oswald just turns and looks at Bartleby and like does like the see what I mean eye roll.
Bartleby gives him a knowing nod.
Shakes his head and he says, I want to find out what the problem is and get to it as soon as possible. We are going to make forward and find out what is causing this dome. I believe, if I'm to make an observation, it is something to do with the crypt, but I do not know. With that smoke, I could tell generally where its location might be, if it's centralized, especially because the dome is, well, for all its purposes, possibly circular.
Right, well, that makes sense to me, I suppose. How can I help?
Let's get the others and get Unter somewhere safe.
And the elder says that the crypts are especially dangerous at night as well.
We don't have much choice. I'd rather not be here any longer than we have. Something tells me that they might be getting violent. I know not of any goddess in this region.
So you notice
I was going to
Unter
ask.
watching.
I don't know of any goddess at all.
There's the Lady of the Lake in Bretonia, but that is the only goddess that I know of. And in fact, can I make like a knowledge lore?
You can, sure. What's your? Yeah, I think you can.
Yeah, I think there's an actual one for religion, but I'm just if there's a religion one, I'm gonna straight up just attempt a roll
Yeah,
for it.
that's fine.
So, although I do not have the skill, so that's just gonna be it. Yeah. Just... Oh.
You're pretty sure from your upbringing that you're right. There's I mean, there are ancient folk gods, older than the old ones, right? So, but yeah, you're not really aware of a specific deity that would. Well, you don't know, but clearly they have something in mind, and you know, different strokes for different folks. It happens. Unter, who's been watching and kind of absorbing as he does. Hey, Oswald, Bartleby.
Yes, sir.
So, I don't know how to say this, but I'm scared. There's something not right about here. Look, he says. On the ground where the old man was standing, there are very small growths of some kind, almost like footprints or something. On closer inspection, they're riddled with worms.
Yeah, Oswald just does the sign of the comet, which is Sigmar's religion is all
Yep.
about the twin-tailed comet, and he shakes his head and he says, "Sir Wagner, it might be advisable to get our possessions and centralize them in some location we can defend it. Could you possibly see about acquiring a place for us to stay for the evening? Like a home or a building of some sort that we could hold up in and
What the
get you
fuck am I
secured
supposed
into?"
to do? It's not like I'm friends with these people. I can ask around if you want.
Well, you are a merchantman. You could acquire such things. I'm only thinking about your personal safety and that of your belongings, sir.
You're a smart boy. I love both of you. You're like my kids. Except you're older than me, Bartleby. Sorry.
He stands and this shift of flesh.
I won't let you go down. I've got this.
He starts walking away, and the camera cuts. So inside the tavern, things have calmed down. Many people have left, and there are just a few folks here. The Door opens. An old man walks in. He's carrying a stick with a lantern. Walks for the bar. Notices Sven seems uncomfortable with his entry. He's not okay with it, for whatever reason. There's a hushed conversation as you're kind of, again, isolating yourselves in the corner of the bar, away from all the sort of locals. The old man nods. Sven looks away and down, like uncomfortable with what he's hearing. And the old man walks past, looks over your shoulder, and looks over his shoulder at you, and exits. Very cold look on his face. Not malice. Indifference. Sven is clearly uncomfortable suddenly, like awkward. His movements aren't right. What do you guys do? Just kind of hang out?
I found Corbin.
You did. He's little, but you found him.
We should go now.
That dude give you a hard time.
Yeah, but I've had that before.
No.
I'm gonna approach Sven.
But all of these
Yeah,
people are weird.
Yeah.
You step across to Sven. You hear all these people are weird behind you. Sven looks up as he's kind of, starting to clean up the mess from all these people having this toast to the dead witch.
I offer my assistance in cleaning up and just kind of casually ask, who was that gentleman? He seemed to be of importance.
Yes, he's the elder. He's the elder. Island is his name, he says, raising an eyebrow. Father of Feldweg, some say.
He didn't seem too pleased considering the clear, victory of the township over the witch.
Well, I'm not catching his voice, by the way, sorry.
Yes, he's a very important man. He has many things that he attends to. He protects us all. He protects us all.
From what?
Change. He protects us from change, boy. You would not understand. He stopped. He stopped the curse. Look around you. Do you think this place was always so wretched? This place was a place for children and families and happiness. And now, look at it. It's a rotting ruin of those of us who can never leave. Never know happiness for change. It ever comes, he says as he puts a muscle into the scrubbing of the dish.
I'm sorry if I've upset you, but if he stopped change, doesn't that mean he is the curse?
The curse was wrought long ago. He brought forgiveness. He brought an end to the chain. Look closely, boy. Look closely at the young children. See how they don't bear the mark of change. That is his work. As wretched as it may be. I can't discuss this anymore. I've said too much. I wish you the best of luck in leaving here and never come back.
I thank him and can finish helping him what I can in silence.
He nods, looks away. There is but one way. You have to stop. You have to stop the tide, he says. I will say no more. Stop the tide and leave this place. I will pray for you tonight. He walks out the side door, as if the conversation wasn't going to continue? What do you do?
I look for the hardest alcohol I can find.
You grab the giant bone bottle and just fucking.
Give me that ivory thing.
No, it's just like this fermented goat's milk that's in an actual bag, like a cloth bag, and you just like it's like chunky and actually cheese-like, but it's like you can smell the alcohol, and you just like upturn it, and it just congeals in your mouth, and you instantly regret it, and then you just move on.
That sounds so hardcore. I'm down with that. So you drink some cheese globs. No, you reach back there and find the a bottle of some kind of spirit. It's not nearly as strong as the stuff in the bone bottle.
Yeah, as long as it's not the bone bottle, I take a shot and kind of set it down and take a second and kind of process what I heard and glance around, seeing the bar kind of empty besides the fellow travelers, and just kind of briefly fill them in about Iwan and his elder, and there's some sort of curse here, and it's something I feel we need to stop, if not to help the town to get us out of the town. And we have to stop the tide.
Grimwald, what's the expression on your face as he's talking about this shit? Are you like, yeah, or are you what's your thing?
Listening intently, like taking it seriously.
Okay. What about Corbin? Corbin, what do you do? You're standing
Why don't
there.
we just leave?
I kind of shrug, and even if we leave the town, we're in this dome. We're trapped in the vicinity of this wretched town.
The reality.
Do what we can while we're stuck here.
The math of what he's saying just sinks in with you, Corbin, and you feel hopeless. Oswald and Bartleby rejoin your group there after their moments with a sincere Unter, who is still hungry, by the way. I'd just like to point that out for the record.
Clearly, this town's cursed. If Unter's being sincere, something's wrong.
One thing, without really talking, Oswald will just reach into this like wrapped cloak over this stuff and start handing out the weapons that he does have. There are 4 of us who are combat capable. I would say that, but Corbin's not really, so he doesn't offer you anything, Corbin, but if you want something, he will give you the hammer that he has.
Do you skip right over him? You're like, here's a sword, here's an axe, here's a... Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Well, I think it was the 2 swords and the hammer were the things that I grabbed. Oh, and Oswald's improvised torch club. From the first...
Yes.
It was from the first session. Yeah, that was the other thing. So there's definitely 4 things there.
Okay. So you pass these weapons out. Corbin, you've got your knife, right? I'm assuming you've got it. If nothing else,
Yes.
you've got a kitchen knife.
Yes.
The normal swords or rapiers? Just
They were rapiers.
They're rapiers, yeah.
Yes.
So like those are really worth something, by the way. Like they're like 5 gold coins or something stupid. So they're really valuable and they're really good, like really good.
you have to be trained in them though.
You're all right if you're not trained in them. There's no penalty for using them.
There's no penalty, but you don't hit well, obviously.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You don't get to use fast or impale, I think, are the properties.
You still get the damage value with it though. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
The other thing is that when he hands them out, he if you want his hammer, he'll give it to you, Corbin. If not, he'll take it.
No, that's okay.
Alrighty. Oswald does say after he hands all this stuff out, it is wise to keep this on you. I'm thinking about centralizing our caravan around the tavern, making them move through the city and set up something so Unter can find some place to be protected. Like it or not, he is our caravan master. We do need to kind of keep him alive for job security at the very least.
You hear muffled as if face pressed against almost fixed door.
I totally agree. I would ask the guards to move, and then I'm gonna try to sort out something to eat.
Actually, is the lady still inside the bar?
The S-shaped woman has gone upstairs, perhaps, or downstairs. You don't know, but you know she's not in here. It's actually just you. Sven has come and gone, and as he enters, you kind of talking and handing out weapons. He looks at you, and it's like he's internalizing what's going on and deciding whether or not he's going to say anything, and then turns and walks away. So you're there more or less by yourself at the moment.
Before Sven goes, could I like get his attention?
Of course. So you've handed out the weapons, right? And you
yeah.
You call him.
Like, I mean, if he's already gone, obviously, and if somebody wants to else speak to him, I know that Oswald has an idea of where this might be taking place from. So.
Well, he turns as you kind of motion for him, and he sort of walks over. And the tavern at this point, that sort of drinking room, is all but empty. There's one other person who's sulking at the bar, quietly minding his business. He walks over to the corner where you are, past a big wooden column with candles on it, obscuring the sound.
Can I get you something more to drink, master?
He says.
You do not need to get me anything to drink. I am too preoccupied. Where are the crypts located from town?
Oh, there are many. The ones there to the south, the oldest, the town was built about them. But they're all but hills now. Much is forgotten there.
Is there any way into the old, I guess, mausoleum of...
Oh, no, nothing that fancy, city boy.
He smiles for the first time in a while.
These are just holes. Holes to drink up the dead. But there are other places to the north. A bit. That's where we bury our dead now. Catacombs, they call them. The elder says this is where the goddess would drink.
He snickers to himself and shakes his head.
Oswald looks around at everybody. He says, or actually, I remember in town, the smoke specifically was like billowing and going towards a direction, like a dome shape. Like it would hit the corner of the dome and go in a direction kind of like this.
More or less,
like
yeah.
up against the surface.
To the north. To the north.
To the north? Okay. Mm-hmm. And I'll look at him and say, could you point me in the direction of these catacombs?
And it's like almost one of those chilling horror movie moments as he points over his shoulder and points in that exact direction.
Oswald actually kind of like lowers his head, and he goes quiet for a minute and then steps away to go like mess with the door again.
Okay, like to clear his mind.
No, like he like it's an awkward pause. He looks down, like you get the shadowed effect on his eyes. He goes over to the door, opens it, and like starts messing with it again to start trying fixing it some more. And like he's like hitting his head and like or tapping his head and like
trying to think it through. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the rest of you guys doing? So you would have been there to hear this. So what is the group? What's going on in Grimwald and Bartleby's heads? I'll pick the quiet two first.
I was going to see if there's any food available for Hunter.
Oh, nice. In fact, the lamb is finished, so you
before he eats the livestock.
You so you.
Oh God, I could just imagine him having a whole pig that he just picks up like this and just starts chomping it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bartleby, what are you doing? So you're hearing this and soaking it in. What's going through his head?
So Bartleby's just considering, and he kind of pipes up. No, I don't like the sound of this. We're hired to protect the caravan. We should protect it. I'm not too keen on going into these crypts at night. Especially not in a place that's cursed.
Not too keen on going into crypts anytime.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeshwan, what are you doing? You don't generally go into crypts either. It's not a thing for a messenger. What are you doing? Do we lose John? Hey, you
Hello?
there? Yeah. I was asking you, what are you doing?
It's like a static game.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I'm kind of looking over the door. That's kind of the last thing I maybe you heard, and kind of wondering what Oswald is doing with the door again. But
it seems like he's lost in it. Like something just he needed that. He needed a tinker to get out of his own head. But what are you thinking about this situation with that?
I'm still trying to piece together stopping the tide. I kind of look to the rest of you, I guess, and ask if anybody has any idea what that would mean. I mean, immediately I would think of the ocean or something like that, but I'm assuming there's no large bodies of water around here.
Sven's still standing there as you say this, kind of leans forward.
I said not to speak it. We are all in danger here.
But aren't you looking for a release from this curse?
There is no release for me. None.
What about the children?
Long as they are beholden to his will, they will be protected. So says he.
The elder?
The witch.
He looks around, almost like the Key and Peele bitch video. The
witch was our only hope.
Interesting.
He turns and walks away again.
I think we need to find if this witch had any belongings or a house or was staying somewhere, something that can at least key us into what he was trying to do, or maybe had something to clue us in on something to go off of. Because right now we're stuck in a dome with a cursed town and a bunch of misfigured barkeeps.
And Gunter.
And Gunter.
And Gunter.
You can hear wagons moving in the distance, as if maybe Unter is seeing to the deed of bringing them back toward the tavern, circling them around or packing them in near the tavern, as Oswald suggested. Distant just yet, so it's not impending. What do you do? You're all but alone. Fire flickering.
Sorry.
What do you got, Oswald?
I think Oswald, when he finally gets to the door to where it literally doesn't scrape anymore, he kind of grabs a chair from nearby and sits down. And he looks up to everybody and he says, "I'm most certain that whatever this is, it is rooted from these catacombs. They come from the same direction, and the only way that I could think about supporting a dome is by having a strong base. And what is below it is those catacombs, from what I recall. I think the best way to protect the caravan is to get out of here before we are accosted by nearly 100 individuals, if not more. I don't know about you all, but I tend to think myself capable, but not that capable. I am not a soldier."
Picture in your head swinging your rapiers as 120 people, men, women, children with ravenous eyes, rush toward you. There's a sudden kind of dread that creeps over you, and you think he's probably right. You're not, if that's the way it's going to go down. If that's the way it's going to go down. But who's going to carry Unter? You think to yourself.
I don't think that.
I think Oswald actually has been thinking about how to get Unter into the actual tavern. Because it is one of the only stone buildings in the entire area.
Yeah, cooking spray or butter or...
You probably have to tear it down first and then rebuild it around him.
You think, from an engineering perspective, Oswald, it might be feasible, but just being that close to him and having to touch him in the ways that you would have to touch him to get him through the door, it's commitment. Up to you. It's physically possible.
I think Oswald does bring it up that
it might be best if we ask the tavern master if he could stay here for the night, seeing as Unter is on his way anyway. And have him and the guards stay in the tavern. I'd not barricade it to the utmost, but make sure that no one could get in. And we go see this catacomb.
Wait, do you want to go at night?
I would rather do it now.
Bartleby,
I would rather do it
Bartleby's
never.
like, fuck that, no.
I understand that, but I would rather do it now than have to fight off an entire lynching mob that would be coming our way. I don't want to be here any longer than I have to be.
Surely they don't lynch people in the middle of the night.
What direction is where the burning happened? The hill?
To the south, not toward the catacombs.
Okay.
The apparent catacombs, and maybe, I mean, you know, you're not exactly math whizzes, but, you know, Oswald's got a point about the way the smoke's going and kind of skirting.
Yeah.
Although it does tend to roll in haze, but there does seem to be a trajectory that would support what he's saying. Tavern Master comes back in, wiping off his hands after having probably given Unter more food. You can hear some other voices. Unter's one of them. Sounds like maybe the guards, like there's conversation. He's returned back to his stable or whatever. What do you do?
As much as I don't want to go at night, I think Oswald is right on this one. We have to do something. We've already outlasted our stay, and the way this town seems to be going, I'm sure one of the five of us seems more than a likely target to be the next witch.
The idea of being...
I think if we leave Unter, we put him in great peril.
Mm.
I think we need to stay by his side. That's what we've been hired to do.
I don't think there's enough people in the village to move Unter to the stake.
I am not worried about Master Unter being carried away, if that's what you're thinking.
They can find us pretty easily if we're just wandering around in the dark anyway.
I just pictured 120 people carrying him to put him on a big... big rotisserie.
Macy's Day?
Yes.
Crushes everybody.
Once he went up, he wouldn't go out.
My own self-interest kind of kicking in here. Why are we staying with Unter at this point? Just asking.
Do you fancy your chances alone?
Better than with Unter.
I think Unter has our best interest in heart, even though he is bolsterous at times.
I believe he knows something that he's not letting on that's putting us in danger.
Well, I agree with that. There's something or some reason why he was in such a mad rush. If he has something that these villagers might be after, he could be in greater peril than we thought.
Corbin, what are you doing? So these tall people are talking here. You're sitting on a stool with your feet dangling and listening to this. What are you doing?
I'm thinking I've fallen in with the wrong crowd because all these crazy people want to march into a crypt in the middle of the night.
Aren't you the least bit curious what's in there, though, Halfling?
No. There's dead people in there.
Maybe they're not all dead.
That would be the worst problem.
It's not a plus.
Grimwald, what do you...
I would much prefer to wait till daylight, but I'm not sure we have that time. We can stay here and rest tentatively, I guess, and try to leave at sunup, but we do risk the mob or the, general will towards us turning before then.
It's so quiet. Just your voices and the sound of Sven, just outside of the door there, cleaning up probably after cooking. Are you in danger? You're having a hard time deciding.
Maybe someone should keep an eye out at the door, make sure there's no lynch mob coming.
It occurs to me that this witch story doesn't add up. I think all of us can agree to that, but what were they saying about the goddess? Is that some heathen thing?
I know not of any religion that is anywhere near here that would talk of a goddess. There is the Lady of the Lake, but she is in her lands of Bretonia, and the forest of Athaloran. Other than that, I would not know of a woman deity anywhere near these lands.
Any of you particularly religious in any way? That
Yeah.
So what if they're sacrificing people, not burning witches?
They said the goddess drinks at the catacomb. Doesn't seem like a very goddess-like thing to do.
I mean, goddesses get thirsty too. Guess what?
At the
Sounds like
catacomb?
sounds like another reason to stay away.
I don't know.
I think since nobody took me up on my offer, I'm gonna go take watch at the door.
You fly, do that sort of pelvis thrust forward and jump down off the stool and walk across. Your heart skips a bit of a beat, and you feel almost, you don't want to push the door, although it does work better now that Oswald fixed most of it. You do. There's no one out there. There are wagons now in the way of the view of the rest of the town because they've been pulled up into the circle there, between 1 and 4. A couple folks milling about toward the tail end of those few wagons. It's quiet.
Scoot under one of the wagons where I can be less noticeable.
Give me a perception roll. I'll put the wagons on the map, by the way. You guys are like, fuck that, we're gonna haul ass to the catacombs in the middle of the night. Also, are you trying to be unseen by the guards as well, Corbin?
Yeah, just generally trying to be unseen by everybody.
Okay, so you just, got it. Your perception roll from your vantage point is going to be not just average, normal situation.
Okay.
Yeah, plus 20 for that.
I think the button is not working today.
I'm happy I trust you guys because you're my friends. If we want to use regular dice because you're having to trust me since I'm not going to click, I'll mess up my whole view here in the overlay. So if we want to use regular dice, that's fine too.
Yes, I don't have regular dice.
I'm going to roll your goddamn perception roll right now.
What is it, a D100?
You roll. Would you like to take a 38? How's that?
Sure, that's
fine.
fine.
So you just rolled a 38 plus, so with your modifier, you do reasonably well. What are you, I'm going to let you ask me. Somebody just, oh, nice. Thank you for the wagon drawings. Those are fantastic. A plus.
I'm gonna make them better, but give me a second. It's gonna take a minute.
Oh, you
I gotta get my stylus pen out and actually do
I'm gonna laugh when they're like perfect wagons. But yeah, so I'm gonna let you ask me for that roll 3 questions.
Okay.
What are you trying to find?
So how alert do our guards seem to be?
Somewhat, not nearly as in tune with the impending danger as you. Maybe got part of a story in more confusion than alertness. Second question.
Once I get to the wagon, what kind of townspeople could I see nearby?
There's a cat somewhere nearby. That's about it. You look. You do actually. You see sort of over toward Area 7. There's a door that opens. Front door. Some kind of domestic stuff happens, and the door closes. A bedpan is emptied or something. It's so quiet. It's so not scary.
Are there lights in any of the buildings that I can?
Absolutely. There are. It's not like everybody's having a house party. There's an occasional candle lit, situation.
So it seems normal, just really quiet.
Yeah. Which makes it even more fucked up, kind of,
I think I'm going to hang out under the wagon and keep an eye out for a little while.
Okay. What are the rest of you doing? So Corbin says, I'm going to go take a look around, and disappears for a bit. He's gone now at this point for, those observations. I'm thinking probably 10 minutes. So what are the rest of you guys doing? Also, time check. We got 8 minutes left before we end our stream for the sessions. I know, right?
I think we're decided we're going to catacombs. It's a decision of when.
In the
Obviously,
morning.
Corbin, I can't reference Jodor once morning. I would agree if we feel we can safely, have hole up here until morning. And then I guess the decision then is, do we bring Unter?
I think Oswald is very much a strong proponent. He will say openly that it is imperative that we go as soon as possible. Not because our danger is only going to increase the longer we're here. And especially at night, they might be asleep and too scared of what might possibly be out in the woods to do anything right now. So that's what this kind of stuff he hits on, is that, like, we need to get away before, like, even if we want to leave Uter, which is not something that Oswald wants to do, but our best chance at living, if this turns into a very bad hostile situation, is that, very much that. He believes very strongly that leaving in the middle of the night to go see these catacombs and deal with whatever this dome is.
So so that's you kind of counterpoint. Grimwald and Bartleby, what's your input into that flow?
I think the danger of wandering around the catacombs or in the woods at night is far more real than the whole village coming to get us.
So it's interesting to watch Grimwald. So you've traveled with him for a while, right? And you know a bit about him. He's a boy, and he's kind of handsome, but it's tangential. A session can't go by that I don't mention that. But he's pretty certain of what he's saying there. Like, he's picturing something in his head, some danger, some horrible thing. Bartleby, what about you?
Bartleby will consider, stroke his chin a little, and I really don't think it wise to go traipsing around where the dead are buried at night. Call me suspicious, but I think that if there's something to be found there, it's better to find it when we have daylight to run to.
That dialogue gave me chills, by the way. I'm gonna write that down in the script for the sitcom that we're gonna. This isn't exactly a sitcom. So what's the decision? What are you gonna do? Options.
I'm
Head to
gonna
the crypt tonight.
start getting this place ready so we can stay here overnight, and it's
Okay.
reasonably secure.
So, how do you go about
Perhaps
doing
we
it?
should
You start
ask
moving
Gunter what he wants
furniture
us to
around?
do.
Do you start moving furniture around and shit? You raise that. Actually, Bartleby speaks up and
Yeah.
as like a tiebreaker, saying, "Why don't we ask Unter? That just makes sense. He's our boss. He's gross, but he's our boss."
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Do you send Grimwald again like you always do to talk to that guy, or Geschwald?
Yeah, I was gonna go and ask him what he wanted to do, where he wanted to be that would be safest overnight that we could get him into,
Okay. So,
or if he just wants to hole up in one of his wagon or something.
So you step out, I guess, right? You stand up from your stools. Again, you're sitting in the corner of this quiet, dirt-floored tavern here in Feldweg. You walk behind the bar, out the side door. You can still smell the scent of meat. You didn't see any of it, by the way. You're starving.
Oh.
Unter has it. And there's a sound that happens when Uther eats. You've come to know it well. It's like someone stirring a casserole. You approach. He's there.
Finally got something to eat. I'm so glad to know you're alright, boy. This is pretty well fucked up.
Do all of you go, or just do you send Grimwald in?
No, I'll go.
Okay,
I'll
so
go.
you go. Geshwin,
Try to
you
get
go
some
as well.
air.
I'll watch for fun.
You what? Watch for fun? And Bartleby, you go as well, or do you hang out with Sven and his S-shaped wife?
Yeah, Bartleby will go.
They're closing up for the night, by the way. So you step outside and he's eating.
So we've got the wagons pulled in. I thought that was a great idea. Bring them over here. What are you thinking? What are we gonna do now? Listen, not for nothing, but I've got to get to Ubersreich. I can't wait here for days. I wish I could tell you more.
Well, we should secure ourselves for the night. Where would you prefer to be, sir?
What do you mean? Where else would we go? There's a dome over our head, Grimwald.
He wasn't necessarily part of the crypt plan for him, right? So he's...
Well, do you want to stay in your wagon, or do you want to try and stay in the inn or somewhere else?
Well, where are you? Where are you lads going to be then?
He says.
Wait. Where's Corbin? Where's a halfling?
He seems generally alarmed.
I'll take a quick look around. Don't know where he went.
Wandering around you.
Well, first we find the halfling. And then, well, we got to make sure the wagons are secure, so we probably set up camp outside by the wagons. Because I've got to be outside, unless you tear that fucking door down, he says.
Oh, but Oswald just fixed it.
Shh, you're elsewhere.
I know.
Like,
That
he
was
just like,
that,
bloop,
that
bloop.
was not.
Teleport.
Never
I get
mind.
it. It's funny. No, what are you guys doing? Geshwin and Oswald and Bartleby kind of standing there as Grimwald is grease all over this guy with him chewing the food. All that.
I can chime in. If we are to get you to Ubersreich, we must get outside of this dome somehow. Our best guess so far is to go to the catacomb to investigate. We believe that could be the source of this witchcraft. Unfortunately, there's some debate whether we wait till morning or we travel now for fear of the town turning on us.
Or try to ask around what this witch was doing. Where he went.
Yeah, if we wait till morning.
Yeah,
it's true.
I'm not going anywhere. And I don't much care for the idea of you boys traipsing into some dangerous situations. We got guards for that, we send them. Or if you go, we send them with you. But then I'll be alone. Alright, we send 2 of them with you and the others stay with me.
Very reasonable.
Alright, listen. It's like, as you watch the expression on his face, right? It's as if there's an internal struggle of some kind going on. And he says,
I can't give you details, but I will promise you something on all I have. You get me to Ubersreich safely, and your families and the families of your families will want for nothing.
do we have an accord? He says, looking each of you in turn.
Yes, sir.
Oswald shakes his head.
Then I leave it to you to sort out how you get rid of that dome. And if there's anything I can do to help, including managing these filthy peasants, I'll do it. But first, you go find that fucking halfling and have him get me something to eat.
And we'll stop. We'll stop here. We'll stop right here. Yeah.
That's how every session should end, with that exact phrase.
Go find me.
Go find that
Brilliant.
halfling and
Brilliant.
get me something to eat. Yeah, so that was really fun. And now what I'm really excited about is when you, whatever it is that you decide to do, this is when the chopping and dying happens. So for those of you who tuned in and watched, thank you for doing that. We're going to post this on YouTube. Go there and give it a thumbs up, even if you already watched it, because we thrive on the algorithm. And so John, Eric, James, Rivers, and Jim, you're my heroes. I can't wait to do it again in another month. I think we should play every day. Just consider that.
Yeah.
Think about it. Right? If it's a daily session around 3 in the afternoon.
I think I have plans.
Yeah.
Fuck off then, John.
My first little kind of Stoga wagon is drawn.
That is brilliant, though. It's got shit in it,
It's
too.
really
It's
good.
got like sacks of stuff and.
Well, it's supposed to be like a canopy, and you can see the like this stuff on it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
So,
I gotta.
so what's amazing though, Rivers, is you have a professional badass artist who's watching this and he's looking at that wagon going, "Fuck yeah."
It's funny. I'm doing it with like a stylus pen too, because I do some graphic art stuff whenever I make my own games, and so like, it's hard to do this with a Roll20 interface. Really hard, so it makes me feel really shit at drawing stuff. So like,
Look, I was too lazy to put the wagons in there, and I didn't even think they were gonna move. But I'm glad I didn't, because I would have been like alarmed. My OCD would have kicked in. All right, everyone, thank you. It's 11 o'clock. Jim, tell your wife we said hi, and thanks for letting us borrow you at this hour in California time. We have been the Myth Brigade. This is our Warhammer Fantasy Role-Play campaign called The Tides of Nurgle. Gee, I wonder what the references to the tides mean. We will see you in a month. In the meanwhile, tune in to Slightly Salted Squad. It's a group of badasses talking about games, being awesome. Check in also because we're running a Cult Divinity campaign with another group of guys and girls that are pretty cool. It's been so much fun. We'll see you soon. I'm ending the stream right.
Good night. Hi, guys.
Good night.
Yeah.
see ya.